Numbers don't lie, but the suits sure do. They printing that paper while you chasing what's due. Ledger got no borders, can't fake what's true. Digital escape hatch, I'm breaking through. Blindfolds tight, but my vision stay clear. System rig heavy, still I persevere. Centralized puppets, man, they pulling them strings. I'm out here stacking sets while they sell you false kings. Decentralized dreams, we breaking the seams. Freedom ain't free, but I'm chasing the means. Blockchain the truth, no shadow regimes. Decentralized dreams, yeah, decentralized dreams. Fiat's a leash and they got us on choke. Inflation's a virus, whole system's a joke. Gold got heavy so they turned it to smoke. Now I hold private keys, ain't no chains on my throat. Bank runs coming, man, the writing's on walls. Bailouts for the rich, crumbs for us all. But code don't lie, it's trustless and raw. They fear what they can't own, so they outlaw. 21 million, the people's decree. Math over muscle, that's financial decree. No middleman taxing, my wallet stay free. Numbers don't lie, but the suits sure do. They printing that paper while you chasing what's due. Ledger got no borders, can't fake what's true. Digital escape hatch, I'm breaking through. Blindfolds tight, but my vision stay clear. System rigged heavy, still I persevere. Centralized puppets, man, they pulling them strings. I'm out here stacking sats while they sell you false kings. Decentralized dreams, we breaking the seams. Freedom ain't free, but I'm chasing the means. No shadow regimes. Decentralized dreams, yeah, decentralized dreams. Fiat's a leash and they got us on choke. Inflation's a virus, whole system's a joke. Gold got heavy so they turned into smoke. Now I hold private keys, ain't no chains on my throat. Bank runs coming, man, the writing's on walls. Bailouts for the rich, crumbs for us all. But code don't lie, it's trustless and raw. They fear what they can't own, so they outlaw. 21 million, the people's decree. Math over muscle, that's financial decree. No middleman taxing, my wallet stay free. 21 million. 21 million. 21 million. Numbers don't lie, but the suits sure do. They printing that paper while you chasing what's due. Ledger got no borders, can't fake what's true. Digital escape hatch, I'm breaking through.
Step 1, wake up early, gon' ride the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge and financial freedom. Today, I've got a few headlines to go over. Some big headlines, and we'll get to those in just a second. But before we get to all of those juicy headlines today, you know what I got pulled up in the background? It's that stock heat map. So let's dive on into that and get you prepped for some success today, because we're seeing a little bit of movements in that stock market. Of course, the rest of the government is shut down today, which, I mean, it was shut down anyway if you're talking about the federal level, but it is a holiday here in America, and the stock market is open on this holiday. So we're seeing a little bit of green here this morning after a massive dump to the downside on Friday. We've got a lot here in the red, not very unexpected after some shenanigans on Friday, but this morning we're sitting a little bit green, like Apple sitting up 1.53%. We've got Nvidia up 3.32, Berkshire Hathaway up 0.49. We've got Amazon up 1.91, Eli Lilly sitting up 0.3%. We've got ExxonMobil up 0.75, Tesla sitting up 2.78. We've got P&G sitting to the downside this morning, down 0.4%. We've got Microsoft up 1.48, Google sitting up 1.61, and we've got Meta up 2.05 this morning. Hopping over to the crypto side of things, we're seeing a lot of green bubbles here on this daily. After a massive dump towards the downside, all of these green bubbles are not too unexpected. We do have to hold some key levels though, and we will get to that in just a second. We're seeing a little bit of red on the hourly. That is something we will need to keep our eye on this morning. But on the daily, we've got Bitcoin up 2.8%, Ethereum up 8.5%. We've got BNB taking a spot in the market cap from Tether. There is some news coming out from Tether. We will get to that one tomorrow though. Kind of want to see how that all plays out. We've got XRP sitting up 8.6%. Solana up 7.9%. We've got Doge sitting up 10.9%. Tron losing a spot in the market cap from Dogecoin, sitting up 2.2%. We've got Cardano up 11.2%. We've got Chainlink up 13.3%. Hyperliquid sitting up 11.3%. We've got Stellar Lumens up 7.5%. We've got Bitcoin Cash up 4.1%. We've got Shui up 15% right now. Avalanche up 7.8%. We've got Leo token holding steady with 0% change on that daily, up 0.1% on the hourly. It is that exchange token, so it's nice to see it hold steady. We've got HBAR up 11.1%, taking a spot in the market cap from Litecoin, and Litecoin is sitting up 2.6%. For the fear and greed, we're sitting in fear on the stock market. Not too unexpected after that massive dip towards the downside. I did do a little buying on Friday. Full disclosure, I've got some favorite projects that I felt a little bit underexposed on, so I did some buying. On the crypto side of things, we are also sitting in fear. We did get a nice little move towards the upside after we reclaimed some key levels on Bitcoin. Massive move up 14 points. So definitely did get that nice little dip towards some extreme fear. But we will have to see if we can hold some key levels, because if we don't hold some key levels, there's definitely some other levels to keep our eye on towards the bottom side. For our liquidation heat map, let me get that refreshed. I opened this a long time ago here. There are some areas of interest directly towards the upside on that 24-hour chart. That top side coming in at 116,400, and it ranges all the way down to 116,100. So a nice little range to the top side. Quite a bit of liquidity in there to keep our eye on. We'll kind of have to see if we get that move towards the upside and then see where we go from there. If we zoom this on out just a little bit here, 3-day looking pretty similar with that liquidity directly towards the upside. Let's get that zoomed out just a little bit further here. That 2-week, if it'll load, sometimes it doesn't. Also looking quite nice for some liquidity. Let's say, oh, finally loaded this time. So we did sweep a lot of that downside liquidity that we've been talking about for a while, and we've got that nice hot spot back up at 126,000. We will have to reclaim some key levels now. We did end up holding an area that I had talked about, and that was $110,000, and we'll have to see if we can continue towards the upside off of that. But let's get over to that Bitcoin chart. We don't have a whole lot coming out from our economic calendar today. You know, the government is closed. So let's get over to that Bitcoin chart, see what we got going on in the chats. We had the chats moving this morning. There is a poll in there. Are we looking for some pump or some dump today? So let me know what you're thinking. Do we get a little pump? Do we get a little bit of dump? But let's see who's in here. We had Steve Hickey in here, Jay Violet in the chats as well. Let's scroll it on down, see who else we got here. We got Trade Intuition. If you're not following his channel, you most definitely should be missing out on a lot of alpha. He goes live every single day in the afternoon. We've got Curtis Hill in here as well. We've got Donato Cabrera and Jay in the chat this morning. Good morning to both of you. We got Eric Ballin Wallen in the chat. Good morning, sir. Hope you're having a great morning so far. We got Jesse Gluck in here. Let's scroll it on down, see who else we got. We got Los on Crypto. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great day so far. We've got Kelliphant in here. She did throw something on out in the Discord that we'll be taking a look at today. It is some Circle, so stay tuned for that one. If you've got any alt requests or stock requests, go ahead, throw them in the chat, and we'll get to them a little bit later. We've got Robert Mulligan in here. We've got Lad Lewis. Uptober, come again, he said. Well, we will just have to see if we can hold some key levels here, because we do have an area to get back above before we can really start to see some upside. We got Chicken in the chat. Good morning to you. We got Ada Ace in here as well. Let's see who else we got. We got Dave Digital in the house. Good morning to you, sir. He said like number 12 is Dave Digital's, and I appreciate that, Dave. Go ahead, hit those like buttons for me. It is a free way to support the channel. Let's see who else we got in here. That looks about it for now. We did have a few requests heading our way though, so let's get those on the list. We had Link, Metis, and ETH, and looks like that's it for now. So Link, we've got Metis, never heard of that one, but we can take a look at it. And ETH, definitely some decent projects. EOS, the stock, says Los. We can take a look at that one as well. EOSE. All right, let's dive into this Bitcoin chart, because we are trying to hold a key level right now. For full transparency, I am in a short right now. I opened that up back at like 4 a.m. So we've gotten a little bit of downside since then, and I'm looking to see if we can sweep just a little bit lower, take out some of that Asia market kill zone lows. We got Sol in those requests as well, and then if we have time, I can take a look at Zora. All right, well, we got 6 requests. Hopefully we can get through all of those, but Bitcoin here on the daily is looking a little bit iffy. You could see a little more downside if you can't hold some key levels here. I am looking for a potential downside if we drop below this golden pocket fib extension that we're sitting at right now. That is also an old fair value gap, which we ended up closing with that massive dump towards the downside. We did end up talking about a few levels down here at $110,000. That's where we got some nice bouncing action off of as well. So looking here at this prime oscillator, we're getting a little bit sideways momentum. We're still sitting in the red, but this money flow is back into the green. We did get a little bit of red after that massive dump towards the downside, and that was not too unexpected there. But looking to see if we can have that money flow continuing back towards the green here on the daily, if we can hold this golden pocket fib extension here. That is coming in at 114,800, so a nice little area in our current range to really hold up, and that would give us some momentum to continue back towards the midline of this old fair value gap, and that's coming in at 116, almost 700 there. So we'll kind of have to see if we can get back up there. If you zoom this on in just a little bit here, this hourly is still looking a little bit toppy here. Zoom it on in a little bit better so you can see that. We got that nice move back off of that 50% line on our fib extensions. We got that move up towards our golden pocket. A little bit of bouncing, coming in with a higher low here. So that does bring me just a little bit of worry if we can't hold these key levels here. I do have an area of potential interest to me back down at about 113,600. We'll have to see if we hold this area. If not, looking back towards the downside might not be such a bad area to take a look at. Also gives us a little bit of continued cool off on the hourly because that MACD is breaking below our indicator line. We're starting to print some red candles. Our money flow getting that rollover, and that prime oscillator is sitting in the red and getting some more curvature back towards the downside. I am waiting to see if we hold these key levels or not. That's kind of been the area of worry for me here. We do have that double top with a lower low, and we've got some liquidity that's kind of interest. So keep your eye on those lower levels if you don't hold our current range here at 114,800. Zooming on in just a little bit here, 15-minute and the morning, starting to see a little bit of some bottoming action here. We do have this peak seeker that came on in here off of this top, so I might see a little bit of some downside on the shorter term time frame. That'll give you a little bit of cool off on that higher term time frame and then allow you to really push back towards the upside there. We are seeing a little bit of green in our traditional markets, so we'll have to keep that in mind as well. If you do get some nice strong upside off of that, could definitely continue to see some nice upside on some Bitcoin. And that's where I talked about that 116,600. That is the midline, and we'll kind of have to see how price reacts there. That is that last area we tried to hold up before we got the massive dump towards the downside there, all the way down towards some key levels at that platinum pocket and almost $104,000. That's an area we had talked about before, and it really swept some downside liquidity. So seeing if we can hold our current range first. If we do hold that, looking back towards the upside. If we don't hold that, looking a little towards the downside there. That is that kind of move for the morning. I am seeing a lot of overheating on some of those higher time frames that could continue us a little bit lower though. So that's why I entered that short at 4 o'clock this morning, and we'll have to see if this current range holds up or not. All right, we did have a few news articles to go over before we get to some of those alt requests. Let me get that pulled on up here. A few big articles, because we've got quite a bit coming out this week, despite the lack of data that we'll be getting from the federal government. So what to expect in the markets this week? There's some big bank earnings. We've got some Fed speeches and shutdown data delays. So we are in the third week of a government shutdown, which will also continue on that lack of data. Scrolling on in here, really getting into the meat and the potatoes of this article. Bond market closed today, as well as the rest of the government, but getting in here, we got a lot of data coming on out. So this week's calendar: Columbus Day, bond markets closed, banks closed, stock market is open though. Federal Reserve official speaking, we got the Philadelphia Fed president and Paulson speaking. We got Oracle's AI World Conference going on, and we've got earnings from Fastenal. On Tuesday, we got the NFIB Small Business Optimism Index. We get a few Fed officials speaking: Fed Chair Jerome Powell, Fed Vice Chair Michelle Bowman, Fed Governor Christopher Waller, and Boston Fed President Susan Collins. So some big news coming out today or tomorrow. We've got Salesforce Dreamforce conference going on and key earnings coming out on Tuesday. We got JP Morgan Chase, Johnson & Johnson, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, Citigroup, Ericsson, Domino's, and Albertsons. A lot of earnings coming out on Tuesday. We got the Federal Reserve Beige Book coming out on Wednesday. We've got Federal Reserve speakers, Fed Governor Stephen Moran, Fed Governor Waller again, and Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic. Another big day coming out from the Fed. We have been getting quite a bit of data from them, looking like maybe we might not get another rate cut coming up at the next FOMC. But we will have to keep our eyes coming on out because we aren't getting a whole lot of data. We also have some key earnings: ASML, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, Abbott Laboratories, Prologis, PNC Financial, and United Airlines. So another big earnings day coming out on Wednesday. For Thursday, we will kind of have to see if we can get these data drops, if the government opens back up or not. We do have some more key earnings on Thursday, though. We've got Charles Schwab, Interactive Brokers, Bank of New York Mellon, U.S. Bank Corp, CSX Corp, and Travelers. So another big day for some earnings. Friday, we've got American Express, Truist Financial, State Street, a biggie to keep your eye on, Fifth Third Bank Corp, Huntington Bank Shares, and Regional Financial. So a very heavy data week for earnings. Keep your eyes out on all of that. Dang, look at that dump on some Bitcoin. Yeah. Well, looking like we're getting a little bit of a sweep lower. We will see if we hold those Asia market lows, though. Looks like my short was the right call at 4 a.m. We've got another big data. We've got another big news article coming out about something we've talked about multiple times here on not just Good Morning Crypto, but Hyper as well. I know LBC dropped something in our Discord about this as well, but this is the AI bubble, and there is quite a bit of a bubble in the AI sector. When you're talking about there's not been a lot of actual money being made off of the AI. A lot of this is just speculative, and we'll have to wait to see as this goes further. But the banking industry is really backing that AI boom. So getting on in here, blow out quarterly earnings estimates from American software and cloud service specialist Oracle, a $100 billion investment in ChatGPT developer OpenAI by silicon chip designer NVIDIA, and in reverse, the purchase of 10 PC stake by OpenAI and another semiconductor, AMD, are all keeping the artificial intelligence pot boiling so far as stock markets are concerned. The Magnificent Seven of Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Tesla have now aggregated stock market capitalization of $21 trillion of the S&P's 500 index total value. Their spending on AI and their share prices are firing U.S. economic growth, which continues to shrug off tariff turmoil, corporate earnings, and thus the U.S. stock market. In theory, where the U.S. goes, the rest are sure to follow. America is the world's largest economy and home to the biggest stock market, biggest bond market, and its reserve currency, the U.S. dollar. All of which count for rather a lot. Many headline stock indices are cruising to new highs, including the very own FTSE 100. Yet some are worried. The minutes of the last meetings of the Bank of England Financial Policy Committee released last Wednesday offer warnings of increased risks of sharp pullbacks in global share prices. The question now, as one email sent to the column immediately reflected, is whether this is a timely alert or a repeat of Alan Greenspan's irrational exuberant speech in 1996. The then Fed Reserve Chair cautioned about the dangers of a galloping stock market only for share prices to continue rising, not peaking until 39 months later. So, uncanny echoes, this does kind of echo that dot-com bubble where you have a lot of companies investing in other companies. If you're not a part of that Piper Academy Discord, LBC drops a very good very good picture here. Let me see if I can find that for you. And this kind of illustrates the AI bubble that we're looking at. And here's that AI bubble for you. You've got OpenAI investing into all of these companies investing into NVIDIA in turn investing into all of these companies. It does lead towards that worry that if one of these slides, all of them slide. There is a lot of other companies that really invest in AI. He dropped this here, which is what you see in these AI data centers, and also in data centers in general. So there's a lot of companies that are tied in together, but a lot of these companies are investing in these other companies, coming up with partnerships. So it does lead to that worry that if one of them slides, all of them slides. So keep that in mind as this bubble continues to grow, that it only takes literally one thing to make all of them slide to the downside. So we will continue to talk about that one there, but if you're not a member of that Piper Academy Discord, you definitely are missing out on some key data points there. So let's get over to some of those alt requests. We've got plenty of time here, but look at that. Bitcoin getting a little bit of some downside there. Might see if we hold up some of that Asia market low. That's where we're sitting at now, and then continue towards the downside. So I did have that key level marked out, and we will have to see if we get all the way down there though. But looks like for now, I am up about 40%. So nice little move towards the downside this morning. Let's hop into some of those alt requests. Let's take a look at Circle first. We called out Circle a long time ago when it started breaking this trend line that was towards the downside, and we started to get back up towards that golden pocket. Let's zoom this on out, take a look at that higher term time frame, and see what we're really looking at here. We are seeing just a little bit of toppiness, so that is something to kind of keep your eye on here. If we do break towards the downside of that trend line, there's plenty of downside to really keep your eye on, and that would be all the way down here at about $114. We'll kind of have to see if we get all the way that low. That money flow is starting to come back in again on Circle on that higher term time frame, but you're starting to get some rollover on that prime oscillator and the MACD. So looking to see if we can hold this on up, make another higher high here. If not, we've got quite a bit of downside here. Taking a look at that hourly though, we are nice and cooled off here. We're getting that sideways momentum coming in on the prime oscillator. True 7 is clipped on out. That money flow barely in the red here, so we could definitely get that money flow coming back in here on the hourly, hold up that golden pocket in our support line, and get that move back towards the upside. We've got a fair value gap directly above us, which is going to be our resistance area, coming in at $160. So that's that area of interest for me. It is from way back there. It is actually closed. Let me get that colored in correctly. We color that black when it is filled, but that doesn't mean that it might not come in as some resistance there. So keep your eye on that upside for Circle. We've got that real strong resistance coming in at about $160, but we could get all the way up to almost $170 coming in at 168.15. So that's that next real area of interest for me on Circle. If we end up holding this trend line and get that move back towards the upside here, pre-market does look like it is opening towards the upside, so it does look like it is getting that bounce off of our strong support. All right, let's get some of those alt requests going there. We had Sol requested Link, Metis, ETH, EOS, and Zora. So let's take a look at that ETH chart. We did get that strong move towards the downside there as well. You know, when Bitcoin dumps, everything kind of dumps together. We got that nice strong move back towards an area we were looking at. We wanted to see $3,717 hold. That's where we got that nice little wick in action off of, moved up to our resistance line at 4,210 and looking to see if we can hold $4,072. That is an area pulled from way back here, and that's an area of support I would like to see hold. We do have this lower high and lower low to contend with, so keep your eye on those lower levels, see if we get that bounce or if we get that move back above $4,214. We do have that peak seeker here on the higher term time frame, and we'll just have to see if this money flow remains in the red here, because that could give us a little bit of continuation towards the downside, especially with that rejection off of 4,210. And if we lose $4,072, that next real area of interest is coming in at $3,875 at that golden pocket fib extension there. That would give you a higher low and the ability to move back towards the upside with some strength. Let's get this zoomed on in, take a look at that hourly, what the day might be bringing our way here, and this does look a little bit worrisome for some moves towards the downside here. You've got your MACD line breaking below our indicator line, starting to print some bigger red candles on that histogram. You've got a bearish divergence here on the prime oscillator as well, coming in with a peak seeker. Oops, didn't mean to move that. With a peak seeker, that bearish divergence, and that money flow looking like it's rolling over just a little bit there. So definitely could get a little more downside there. First area, like I said, $4,072, which could give us a little bit of hold up there. I have talked about some lower levels, and that would be the area to kind of look for some potential interest, because it was resistance once we dropped below it, and then we moved through it extremely quickly and never really turned it into some support. So if we can turn this into some support up here, we'll just leave that open and then continue towards the downside. But if we don't hold this as some support, turning that golden pocket back into a support area and then continuing towards the upside would look a little bit better on those charts, give us that cool off here on the midterm time frame, and give us a little move towards the upside there. ZEC, he deleted it. Let's see what that 15 minutes in the morning are looking like. Looking like you have a little more towards the downside that could really give you that nice little cool off. ZEC ate that dump up. Might have to take a look at that one if we got some time. We got that MACD continuing towards the downside here as we're below our indicator line and breaking below the zero line here, starting to print those bigger red candles on the histogram. That prime oscillator looking extremely close towards some bottoming here on the shorter term time frame, so you could get a little push up towards the upside. Would really need to break above 4,170 to get that move up to 4,210 though. So that is going to be our short-term time frame resistance area to get above to really see that move towards the upside there. Let's get that a little bit thinner. That is our local resistance to keep your eye on. If you can get above 4,169, you've got a lot of room towards the upside to test on $4,210. All right, that was ETH. Let's take a look at some Solana there. And Solana got that nice move back down towards $181. Let's get this zoomed on out. Take a look at that higher term time frame there. Day. There we go. We got that nice drop towards the downside. We came very, very close to closing those candle bodies on 181, closed at 177. We're seeing some nice bottoming action here on the daily that we're not seeing on some of these other projects. We are above that 382, and we're looking to see if we can hold that. So we are seeing a little bit of some stagnation directly above that. Would really like to retest on that 382, allow us to move back up towards that $220 range. So let's get this zoomed on in, see what we're looking at, because we're seeing that bottoming action here on the prime oscillator. That MACD starting to come in with a little bit of sideways momentum there. Money flow is the only worry, as we're barely in the green on that higher term time frame. Zooming on in, taking a look at the hourly, see what the day might be bringing our way here. We're seeing the same kind of toppiness that we were seeing across the market. You've got that MACD line breaking below our indicator line, starting to print those bigger red candles on the histogram, and that prime oscillator coming in with that bearish divergence as you have that higher low when you made that higher high, and your money flow starting to get a little bit of some rollover. So that's why I would look a little bit lower at $190 in that 382 to see if we can get that nice strong bouncing action on the higher term time frame. Unless that money flow really continues here, we would need to get above $198, which is our local resistance here on Solana, to get that strong move back towards the upside there. So that is our area to kind of contend with now, and then we'll see if we can get through all of this quick movement back towards the upside, see if we can get back up to about $210 there. So nice little move towards the downside. We did get that move off of 181, and then we're waiting to see if we either retest that 382 or continue back towards the upside towards that $200 range. So Solana there, we got through ETH. So let's take a look at some Link. All right, Link getting battered down as well. We are below a key area that we had marked on out on our charts. Let's get that to the daily time frame. Look at that. Link almost directly getting that move to $8.16, which was an area of strong support from way back here and strong resistance during the bear market. So nice little move towards the I say nice little move towards the downside, but it's a nice move towards the downside if you ended up buying it up. But we got that nice move back towards the upside here, and it looks like $19.72 was the resistance from back here, and is coming in as some resistance again. We are seeing some bottoming signals here on the higher term time frame. We're getting that curvature on our MACD, curvature on the prime oscillator with a reversal signal flashing. I would like to see another reversal signal flash on the higher term time frame to really give you that move back towards the upside. So potentially looking towards about $18.50 for a little bit of short-term bouncing to give us that move back above $19.72. Let's see what we're looking like here on the hourly, and you can see we're getting a little bit of rejection off of $19.72. Really coincides with that downside action we're seeing on Bitcoin right now. And we will have to see if we can hold some of those key levels back above the 50% line on our fib retracement there, coming in at $18.56. Nice little area to the downside. Would give you some nice cool off here on the higher term time frame, as that MACD has not yet broken below that indicator line, but you're getting that heavy curvature. Prime oscillator also failing to really get that curvature back towards the upside with some strength, as you're seeing that rejection at 1972. So could definitely get that curve back down if you continue to dump towards the downside, and see if you can hold up $18.52 there. If you can hold that price back up, then you can get that move back above 1972 and that move back towards $21.13. cents. We do have some local support back down here at about $19, so would like to see how price reacts there first, and then if we do that, get that continuation towards the downside to cool off these oscillators, looking for that bounce at $18.52. That 15-minute in the morning looking pretty overheated here, as you do have a little bit of a divergence here on that MACD. You got that lower high, the higher high here, but you've got the higher high here and the lower high there. So could definitely see that continued more momentum towards the downside here, really grab up some liquidity and then get that move back towards the upside with some strength. Our very strong support is going to be coming in at that 50% line and $18.05. So those two areas towards the downside that would give us the cool off to really get that move back up to about $21. So that's what I'm looking for on Link. Let's see what we got for Metis. I don't think I've ever looked at that, so let's take a look at Metis. Apparently I have. So here it is on that Coinbase chart. Got that break towards the downside there, just like the rest of the market, breaking below the lows of our fib line there. Could not hold at $16.85 and got that move below the bottom side of our fib levels there. So we are looking a little bit worrisome as we break to some new lows here on Metis. We would need to get above $11.62 to really start seeing some upside there. That is that bottom side of our fib levels. Let's get this zoomed on in, see what we're looking at on the shorter term time frame, because the daily is looking a little bit nice for some move towards the upside. If you can get this money flow coming back in, that's that big worry here. Money flow really in the red, making some new lows on the outflows. So keep your eye on that money flow here. We'll see how it looks like on the shorter term time frame, looking like it's rejecting off the bottom side of that fib retracement. We do have quite a bit of resistance directly towards the upside, where we did test on the midline of this fair value gap here. We'll kind of have to see if we can hold that up with some downside action. That's coming in at about $10.50 there. So that's that first real low side I would keep my eye on. See if we can get some more bouncing at $10.55. If we can't get that bouncing there, taking a look at $10.12 would be that next real area of support for me. We got Melissa in the house. Good morning to you, madam. Hope you're having a great day so far. It is going to be a wonderful week for sure. Might be a little bit iffy on some of that price action, but we can make money if it goes up or if it goes down here, and that's why you got to be prepared in both directions. Things are looking a little bit overheated on that hourly, as we're breaking below that indicator line, that prime oscillator getting that curvature back down, and the only hold up here is our money flow. It is sitting in the green, so that shorter term time frame bouncing area does look a little more interesting at $10.56 there. Let's see what that 15-minute in the morning are looking like. Running a little bit sideways on that MACD. A lot of sideways momentum. As you can see, we've got a lot of sideways momentum here on that price action as well, with just a nice little liquidity grab towards the upside, and we'll have to see if that price action holds up at 10.55. Things are getting a little bit bottomy here on that prime oscillator, but you are getting that, let me get that zoomed in a little bit better. You are getting that break below our MACD line. We would need to see if we can hold up that zero line though. So seeing those red candles coming in on the histogram does lead me to believe we'll get a little more downside here this morning before we can get some upside, and that's why I was in that Bitcoin short. We're trying to break that Asia market low right now, so money flow is sitting in the green here on the shorter term time frame as well. So that short term bouncing area does look a little more interesting here, and then we would have to get above our short term resistance at $11.15 to try to get get that move back towards the upside of $11.60. So those are those two levels towards the upside we really need to break above before we can get some moves back towards about $12.41. So let me get those drawn out there. There's that kind of range for you to keep your eye on. If you break below $10.08, does look like a decent entry. All right, that was Metis. I believe Zora is also a crypto, and EOS was a stock that I was actually taking a look at with a buddy the other day. So let's take a look at Zora real quick, and then it looks like we have time to take a look at EOS as well. So Zora, US dollar, Coinbase. Oh, apparently I've looked at this one before. Let's add it to the list. Let's get this added to the list. Zora on Coinbase, and add it to our list there. There we go. So we got that for future ones. EOS has something to do with zinc battery technology. Yeah, it is a company that deals with energy, and that's why me and my buddy were taking a look at it actually last week. He asked me a little bit about it. I said I didn't know enough about the stock to really give him too much information about what I thought I might do, but definitely of some interest to me. They are in that battery sector, so getting a little bit of some resistance at 10 cents there for Zora after that massive move towards the downside. We are in a little bit of a divergence from the rest of the markets here, so looking a little bit nice if we can hold 9 cents to really continue back towards the upside there. Let's get this zoomed on in here. Daily is looking a little bit toppy here, but that money flow is really coming in with some strength. So let's see what we're looking like on the hourly. Hourly does look like you could see a little bit of cool off there. We're holding up the highs from back here, which is $9.72. Let's get that drawn out as a short-term area of support. As you can see here, that's where we've got that little bit of bouncing action for right now. Geez, Bitcoin breaking below those Asia market lows. We might have to take a look at that before we wind the show on down there. So we are seeing if we can hold those highs from back here, 0.9732. We are getting that nice little bit of bouncing action, but we've got some nice short-term resistance at 10 cents there. Your hourly is looking a little bit toppy, breaking below that MACD line. Your money flow is the only hold up here at our current price level. If we do break below that, looking back at about 9.5 cents would be that area to kind of keep your eye on. If we don't hold that up, we did talk about that range at 0.92, which would be that next real strong area of support. But for now, we are holding up 9.09732. So local support for right now. We'll kind of have to see if that money flow does send us towards the red there. Oh my goodness. I might have to move my take profit on my Bitcoin short. Jesus, we're getting that move towards the downside. Let me move my stop loss real quick. Moving it into some profit. We will take a look at that Bitcoin chart before we wind the show on down. 15-minute here, getting a lot of sideways momentum within our local resistance and local support. We are starting to see some bottoming action here, so this could continue to diverge from that Bitcoin market, and we could get that nice move back towards the upside here. This didn't dump as hard as everything else. Our higher term time frame resistance is coming in at 10.695. So we do need to get above our local resistance at 10 cents first, and that could give you that move back towards the upside. But I would look a little bit lower first as we're trying to break below those lows. Hold on. Before we get a little bit further, let me move my take profit. So see if we can sweep a little bit lower than I was looking. Big moves to the downside this morning. I was talking about that at the beginning of the show. All right, let's see what we've got on that Bitcoin chart. Sorry about not looking at EOS, and we can take a look at that tomorrow here. but we did talk about looking for 13,500, and it looks like we're really getting that strong break towards the downside here. And if we can't hold that, looking all the way back down to our bottom side of our top side sideways range. Let's get that zoomed on out so you can see it. This was the bottom side of this sideways range here before we got some deviations below it. We are looking to see if we can hold that if we break below that 13,500. So definitely seeing quite a bit of downside this morning. D. Robinson saying Trump is speaking live right now. So I'm sure Piper will talk about that a little bit later today. And make sure to tune in to that morning market report at 10 a.m. Eastern time here on the Piper Academy. I did warn about some downside price action this morning. That was my big worry. We did make that lower high here, and we're looking to see if we can at least make a higher low. So we will see what happens with those markets. Crap. I'm just gonna close out my short honestly. Because I'm in I got a big move towards the downside. I was seeing quite a bit of profit on that one. Let's get it. Let's see what that was. Trade history and details. Nice strong move. So I will share that one in the Discord for you. Could definitely see some continued downside, but it does, like Los Crypto said, it does look like it's bouncing. So hopefully see y'all in the chats here on the rest of the shows on Piper Academy. We got that morning market report at 10 a.m. Eastern time. We've got trading with OC at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and I hope to see you in the chats on Alex O Crypto here in about 30 minutes. Make sure to wake up because today's going to be a good day.